What's up, guys?
I want to explain to the people why we're laughing so hard. What were you doing right before this?
I was mimicking different intros of different podcasts and TikTok videos.
So I just clicked record thinking we might catch a good intro.
And then we just looked at each other blankly and just started bursting out laughing. But anyways, what's up, guys? I'm here with my wonderful fiance, Faith Duncan.
And I'm here with my wonderful fiance, Noah Tobin.
And we got a pretty special episode for you today. But first off, we might be D3 runners, but we're D1 yappers at heart.
That was so good. You cooked on that, and I totally would have forgot to say that at any point in this intro. I was like, what is he going to say? And then you said the actual intro that we were supposed to say. So good.
Guys, we've made it. All right, so what do we got up first?
Well, special episode today. We got a nice little Q&A. So we asked, you guys responded. Any questions that you guys had for us about running, life, spirituality, all that jazz. I think the first question is very fitting. Today is our 6-month anniversary, which answers the first question. How long have y'all been dating? Congrats. Love the podcast. You want to answer that for us?
Well, first off, thank you. Today marks 6 months that me and Faith have been together. It's been quite the journey. It's been over a year of her being at Wilmington College, and it's been quite the year of getting to know her on a deeper level as a friend and teammate first, and then as somebody who I enjoy spending every moment of every day with. So, and I thank God every day for her. So it's been quite the journey, and we're excited, and love has no limit.
That was like the sweetest thing and the best way to start the pod. We have known each other longer though. I think that'd be kind of fun to answer. We met at a long run, but I've been honest with you, I don't remember you at this long run, but we were both there. My first time remembering meeting you, I was at the running store, and I was kind of mean to you because I was working at the running store, and you had just had like the race of your life, and you were like, you figured out my brother was Sam Duncan, and you almost beat him. And
it wasn't hard to figure out.
And I was like, yeah, he was sick. Like, he's way better than that. He had a bad day. And then I went back to the back to get shoes for you to try, and I was like, damn, I was kind of mean to that guy. And he was really nice. So then I tried to overcompensate. And then I don't think I saw you again until our Zoom call, like 2 years later. Or no, like a year later when I interviewed you and Simon for a podcast that I was doing by myself in the summer.
Which I think that video still available.
It is.
If you go far back enough, you can listen to that. It's very interesting. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure a little birdie told me that you ended the video with us, and you were like, wow, that guy with the mullet is pretty hot. So, exposed.
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid.
Major question for the pod. Who said I love you first?
Me.
It's a cute story. I did almost die in a car wreck earlier this year in the fall. Well, I don't want to worry people. It was a T-bone. They missed me.
Lucky. Very lucky. Seeing the car after, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't think I fully understood it till like I saw the car and like every single airbag down and like just the side of the car smashed. But then we went to celebrate life at Fiesta Veracruz. Sorry, continue.
No, but I think it was like a good like first, like we talk about this all the time. Like I feel like the phrase like "I love you" is something that works in. You could say it as early as you want, and you can say it as late as you want. And the earlier you say it, just the more layers. It's like an onion.
Like Shrek.
But like it's true. Like love is such a broad term, and it's such a term that grows the more you use it. I think a lot of people, like earlier in my like high school days, I guess you could say, people like were like, oh, it's overplayed, like, oh, don't say it too much, like the worth will wear off. But I think we give love the worth, and we make what it is. And so I just think as you use it more in a relationship, like you start off from saying like I love you to somebody and being like I enjoy you and like I enjoy like your company to I love you like on like a physical, emotional and supportive level, like, and it just gets deepened and strengthened.
Yeah, totally. And I think I said it at Fiesta thinking like, well, like life is short and sweet, and like it would be a shame if I never had told you how I felt about you. So I was like, I should just say it. And I think you also have a great idea of like, or you're very good about like every time that like we like part ways or leave, you say like, I love you, like, because you never know when the last time you're going to see a person is, and so you want them. That's the last thing you want them to remember. So
yeah, especially with like the amount of time I get to see my parents, I always want to make sure anything I say to them is always I love you, because it would hurt me so much if I ever found out like that the last thing I said to them before they passed away, which I'm talking like they're super old, but they're not. They're only in their early 50s. So shout out to Dennis and Lisa Tobin. Love my parents. You guys are awesome. But yeah, like I would hate for that to be for like something mean or just like not even meaningful, like to be the last words. But that's something that's been on our minds lately too. This is kind of a weird thing, but you know, it happened this weekend. Me and Faith went to St. Mary's to celebrate my sister and her fiance Andrea, and during that weekend we had a lot of fun and a lot of fun excursions with running and new places and just hanging out with different people. But our hearts were saddened to wake up on Sunday morning after a long run to get an email from Wilmington College. We found out one of the members of our Quaker family passed away on Saturday. Our hearts and prayers go out to
his friends, his family. He was in DTS, I think, was the fraternity he was a member in, and you know, like those guys are all really close on campus. And I think
he was an athlete too.
Yeah, he was a football player. Just knowing that that's somebody who like we could have sat by in the training room, and how it happened too, from what we understand, is just a really sad circumstance. So you never know who might be struggling, and thoughts and prayers to everybody. Like,
yeah, I was talking with Gabe Moore, one of our teammates on the run, and he first off he said, you know, you never know how good you have it until you know you really think about it, and you get put in perspective when things like this happen. And you will never know, he usually says, you will never know the battles that people face. Like, you just sometimes will never find out, like, what small battles people face on a daily basis. And I think that's so true. And I think that's something that, you know, God helps everybody with. And so it's really sad. It's just a sad weekend for the community in Wilmington. And our hearts go out to him and his family. And we just hope that, you know, moving forward, that, you know, people get the help that they need and in the ways that they need it.
Always show love. On that note, Bob Duncan, he would ask this. Percentage of training at each lactate level and breakdown by sport. Start with total training hours. Okay, well, he should not be asking this. He should know this. So for those who do not know, my dad, Bob Duncan, coaches professional triathletes. He has for a very long time, ever since I was a child. This is not why I started triathlon. That's a whole different story. I was never pressured into it. Honestly, for a long time growing up, I was like, no, I just want to run. Getting into triathlon was a whole different thing. But he essentially writes my swim and bike training for me around my run training, written by Ron Combs. So we'll kind of target, like Ron and I will talk about what races are important and the goals, and then we'll look at the swim and the bike training that will kind of best supplement that. Total training hours right now sitting pretty around 20 hours a week. Down weeks are a little bit under 15, but last week I think I was 22. This week it should be 22 again if things go well to plan. Training at each lactate level, our hard days are really hard. So I'll do a workout in the pool, on the bike, and running, and they usually match energy systems. So like if I'm doing a tempo run, I'll do probably like tempo 400s in the pool on short rest, and I'll do probably longer, like 8-minute efforts on the bike with like 3 minutes rest between, and that'll be a pretty long bike workout, like probably around like 2 hours total. And we'll always lift those days as well. If it's an easy day, it'll be usually, if it's a really easy day, it'll be one or two things, usually like a long, easy swim and bike. But then there's other days kind of at the top of zone 2 by heart rate and or watts on the bike. So like today I had a 2-hour ride where an hour and 40 minutes of it, aside from the little warm up and cool down, was at the top of my zone 2 watts on the bike, which correlates with the top of my zone 2 heart rate, which is just before like threshold essentially. So you're doing those longer top of zone 2 sessions, and it's not high intensity, but by the end it's hard work. So today that felt good, and we're thankful for it. Paired that with a nice little 5K swim and jiggy jog this afternoon, and we cooking. So no, I don't know the exact percentage, but people talk basics in sport like the 80-20 rule, 80% easy, 20% hard, and I think that's probably about where we fall.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my training's more on the running side, but I'm pretty sure that question was more geared towards you, and you answered it very perfectly.
Hopefully, my dad can tell me if I did or not.
So next, from one of our favorite throwers, Justin Shuga, on a stranded island. Oh geez, I can't even talk. We'll put this in there still, me struggling because gosh, I'm dyslexic, I feel like. So if we were on a stranded island and we only got one thrower from the Wilmington Quakers throwers to help you out of JJ, Borg, and Justin, who would it be and why? I'm going to put Faith on this first.
Borg. So easy, I would say Borgen.
Now why? Give me 3 reasons why.
3 reasons why Borgen? Well, I can tell you why not the other 2.
Oh, wow, okay.
I don't know.
Then do one reason for each for why not, and then one reason why you picked Borgen.
JJ, I feel like, JJ, I feel like at first seems like the logical choice. Like he's easy to get along with. He's a man of the people, very, very sociable, right? But I also can see him going total like Lord of the Flies, like in the end, like if needed, or like picking sides and getting very defensive on his side or stance if you're there with like other people. Justin, he's got energy. I feel like, to quote John Mulaney, we've all gone too big too soon. Feel like there might be some burnout there on like the energy front, and the like we're gonna build an epic fort, but then what? We need food. We need more. Borg just seems level-headed. I feel like he'd be quiet, cool, calm, and collected, and I feel like he might be doing his own thing off in some corner of the island somewhere. And when you find him, you'll realize he's got a setup going, and you want a truce or something. How about you? Critique me.
This is terrible because I hate this because Justin's just putting us on the spot for like he's trying to make us pick who we like. He wants us to show our true colors of who we like the best between the 3. And I honestly can't even say if I like they're all like equal to me. Like they're all my friends and teammates and wonderful men.
You're a better person than me.
If I had to pick, I love Borgen and I love Justin. And I feel like they're all equally as intelligent in the sense of in that mode, I would say. Justin, he's really tall, so like he could reach some things. Borg and JJ are pretty similar in height, and I'm short. But I will say this. If it's an island and we're stranded and I need somebody who's going to be like the killer, I gotta go with JJ. JJ is a freaking killer. So that is my reason.
And he's a natty champ.
He is a double champ. Well, no. Maybe he will be.
We'll manifest it. JJ, we're not going to edit that. We're manifesting the double champ.
All right. Next, we got As a fellow D3 runner, what did you guys do to become successful? Would you want me to take it?
Yeah, go for it. I feel like we're gonna have very different answers, so you start with this one.
As a day one D3 runner, I will give you my perspective, and then Faith will give you the transfer into a fantastic environment perspective. So my perspective is, honestly, I was a 1640 guy coming out of high school. Didn't have a huge team in high school. Didn't have an environment where a lot of guys really just wanted to like run, which is understandable because we're all like 18 to 14-year-olds that like we're probably just doing this to get out of the house because our parents forced us to. Not me, obviously, because I chose to continue my passion in college and not get paid for it, as most people try to do. So I got recruited by Ron, and I more so like sought out Wilmington College because I wanted to be an athletic trainer, and they had a really good AT program. And after that, I obviously changed my major, but I still loved the team. I was in constant conversations with Ron and our now assistant coach, but used to be team captain, Joshua Cyrus, Simon Hayes, like some of my best friends, and even some of the recruits at the time, like Eric Reynolds and Hunter Belleville and Tyler Parks, like those guys, all of our huge freshman class coming in. So, I mean, we had a team of like 25 guys. It was freaking huge. I was like, this is awesome. And honestly, going into D3 in 2020 is quite the experience because, you know, COVID, we had a COVID season, which wasn't a real season. Like, we just didn't have a cross-country season. And so I had basically from when my high school track season got canceled, which was March 16th of 2020, I had from March 16th until literally, I believe, I want to say December 15th. So I don't even know how many months that is. What is that? April, May, June, July, August, September, and October, November, December. So I had 9 months to train for college, cross country, track and field. And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise. I hated finding out 2 back-to-back seasons in a row that were getting canceled, especially being on the next level, because I felt like I was really fit during what was supposed to be my last outdoor season in high school. I felt like I was the fitness of, I felt like I could have got under 10 minutes in a 2 mile, but we still had that 10:21 2 mile PR forever for high school, which is okay because we've crushed that now. I think by technicality, I've ran like 9:04 in the 2 mile, which is pretty freaking sick. But so I honestly, after that, I just really grinded and I got up to 80 miles a week coming in as a freshman in college, which I don't recommend. But I stayed healthy and I made sure I recovered. And like Faith said in the earlier question, 80% easy and 20% hard. We're really big in Wilmington about our easy days are easy and our hard days are hard. And as I've gotten older, I've really, really, really have gotten into looking into heart rate, into cadence, and to stress on the body. I really love using my Garmin, its tools, like my sleep score and my HRV status, and just the heart rate throughout the day, and even steps, because I don't care who you are and what you think, but just because you run 8 miles doesn't mean that day is lesser than a day that you ran 12. Because maybe you got 30,000 steps the day that you ran 8 miles, and you got, only 15,000 from a day you ran 12. You just sat on the couch all day. Obviously, the run impact is completely different, but just your body's total stress score for the day, I feel like, is just completely different. So I guess the things that made me successful as a D3 runner is, I hate saying this about myself, but you always tell me to be confident, so I'll just say it. My main 3 things, number one is my grit. I think
100%.
I think when you're a D3 runner, you have to have grit. Did you want to say something or something?
No, I just wanted to agree with that because you're one of the grittiest people, and I thought of your 3K from OICs immediately. And just, I think with what you're saying about as a D3 runner, that's important because we don't have all the same resources D1 schools do. A lot of D3 schools do, so that's not a knock on D3. Like, there's a lot of very well-off D3 schools out there, but Wilmington in particular, like, we don't have an indoor track. Like, we don't have all the same gear. We're not getting shoes. We're not getting paid. Like, you have to be willing to, like, embrace the unglamorous parts of the sport and help yourself. And at the end of the day, do it for yourself because you want to, and that takes grit. Sorry, continue.
No, and I agree. I think number 2 on my top 3 list of what makes me what has made me successful in D3 is consistency. Just the consistent building of weeks upon weeks upon weeks of training, and not only that, but the importance of taking the 2 weeks off between long periods of season. So, like, after outdoor track, we take 2 weeks off, a full 2 weeks. That's our biggest break, and then we get back to it. So the physiological ideology behind that is after 14 days, your body starts to lose aerobic fitness. So when you push your body to the new level of fitness, if you wait 2 weeks, like if you stop running for 2 weeks, the theory is you'll start to lose the fitness that you gained. So yes, you'll feel sluggish after you come back, but it's like you built this step, and it's like if you take longer than 14 days off, you're kind of pulling out the nails that holds the step in place. Whereas if you don't, you're coming back to that step and you're just going to build upon it and make it stronger. So that would be my number 2, is just consistency and just the stacking of weeks upon weeks in training and just being consistent on the days off.
I think that's a very good analogy, and I just wanted to tag on to that. Like, I think a lot of people think that first run back is miserable and that they've lost all this fitness, and I feel blessed, and I never really feel like I've lost that much over the 2 weeks when I start coming back. But I think, and I say this as a reminder to other people, like, it's just because you don't remember what it's like to run. Like, you don't remember, like, oh, like, yeah, this isn't just, like, a walk in the park. Like, we're moving, but really, like, the fitness is still there. You just have to get reacquainted with the movement more than anything.
And my third thing, and I'm honestly, it's kind of a hypocritical thing because I know it helps, and I know sometimes I get in bad ruts, but I can tell the difference. And one of those, I'll combine it with 2 things. So first off, the first part would be rest and recovery paired with sleep. So it's really important to be getting at least 8 hours of sleep. And I think our trainer always says, as a high training athlete, you should be getting like an average of an hour or more sleep every night. So we should be getting at least 9 hours of sleep to 10 hours. And that's just total sleep. So that could be, what that could look like is you could sleep for 7 hours straight, then come back and like nap for 30. Like, you could have like a bunch of power naps throughout the day. Wouldn't recommend that route, but I mean, also it's whatever your body, like, it's very subjective to like the type of sleep that your body can get within 30 minutes, or get that 8 hours and then figure out like ways you could get 2 hour long naps in a day. Like, recovery and resting is just as important. It's a part of training. That's consistency as well.
The recovery race. The recovery race.
Yes, I agree. And also, I spoke about our trainer, Caroline, but also when you are a D3 athlete, like getting in the training room, like doing the things that you need to do, like hit the hot tubs after the run, hit the cold tubs after the run, whatever you prefer. Roll out before, you get up, after you get up in the morning, like first thing, like, just if anything feels creaky, like get it checked out. Who cares if it's like a minuscule thing? Like, they're there to help you and, utilize your resources. So that would be my top 3 things that like helped me become successful. Do you have anything to add to that?
I think, just piggybacking off of what you said, I think you did a great job covering all the things, like with consistency. I think triathlon, getting into that, has helped me see. I used to be very much the athlete that wanted to go, like, knock everything out of the park, and I think I
still is.
Hey, I was gonna say
getting better.
Yeah, I think that made it really easy to overtrain, and even though I'm doing so much more volume in training for triathlon now, it's funny because each session I see it and like I can feel kind of the proper amount of fatigue in my body, and it becomes much more of like a check the box, get the job done, like clock in and then clock out, get your recovery in, like you were talking about that recovery race, and then go check the box on the next session. Like it used to be like, oh, the last rep's the fast rep, and now I'm like, this has been a great workout. This rep is like my victory lap. All I got to do is the same thing.
I know some days are better than others, but I am always really proud of you for your bounce back, being like a little kid that gets hit in the head that starts to giggle. Like, I think some of your sessions sometimes, like, you have like a crappy swim and be like, wow, that was terrible. And then you get on the bike like right after that, and it's like the mental switch to go into that is, and then to go into that and then have like a good bike workout and then have like an okay run. And like just being able at the end of the day to be like, well, at least I got all 3 done. And it's like, it's like very valid.
It's funny. Like there's definitely days like that where you can't really think about the next session. There's days where like this past week, like it was a really hard week. It was a really big week. And there was one day when I looked at the 3 sessions and I was like, I don't know if I can do any of these. And the swim was rough, but then I nailed the bike and my legs were shot. And I was like, I don't know if I can do the run. Like it's a monster run workout. And it was like the entire first half of the workout, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this is going to work. Like there's no way I'm going to be able to finish this. And then I got to the end and it drilled every rep and was actually running faster than I was supposed to by the end. So I was doing a little bit more than just ticking the box, but I got through the workout and it was just, I like clapped my hands when I crossed that line. And was like, that was a good freaking day. But I think that consistency piece is very important. I also think the support system is very important. I think that's one thing. I don't want to go too in depth on my whole transfer story. I was at Mississippi State and then Dayton and then finally landed at Wilmington. But the support system at Wilmington is great. And I mean, that includes you. Like I've jokingly said that you're like my secret weapon. But you got me into the training room and like doing all that little recovery stuff and like keeping me out of my head on some things like on sessions. And I think just relying on the people around you, like when you're around people that have done so much for you just from a support side that you know genuinely want the best for you and are cheering for you, like you toe the line and you want to do well for them. Like every lap of that 5K indoor, I'm looking at you when I come around on the track and like seeing like, what are my people doing? Like what's Noah doing? Like is he yelling something for me? And like when it starts to hurt, I think about like you guys and like I think about the people watching on the live stream back home, and it makes it way easier to dig deep.
It's really cool getting to see how you've transitioned kind of into just how like Simon was when I would watch him in big races or at national meets, and it's like he's always looking at his people and like so are you. You're always looking for your main people because we know each other's like facial expressions. We know what every face means. We know if we're like kind of low key lying to each other to try to get some more like energy from each other. So like coming around each lap, you were like, you didn't look, you're like, what's Noah doing? Like, is he nervous? Is he just cheering me on? Like, how much am I gapping the field? And I mean, you could kind of take in what your mind thought during the 3K at nationals.
Yeah, it started to hurt really badly. And I mean, like, before the race, you would talk to me about, like, the point of no return and, like, going to that dark place and staying there more than anybody else. And it was funny because I couldn't hear you during the race, but I saw you yelling every lap, and I just imagined you yelling point of no return when it got really hard. And I was like, this is okay. This is where we're supposed to be. But I think not only just, like, looking at your people during the race and trying to listen to them and trust them, but just throughout the whole process, like, of becoming the best version of yourself as an athlete, like what do you do to become successful? It's just lean on each other. So
all right, our next question is from Lydia. Her question is, how do you deal with burnout? Honestly, I'm gonna take this one because I'm like personally kind of like in this right now.
I feel like you'd be very good. Yeah.
So we are obviously doing this video on our 6-month anniversary, so it's currently March 24th, so maybe the video will be out, or the link for this will be out tomorrow, or maybe in a day or two. I don't know. We'll see. That's all due to my lovely fiance. So whenever she gets it out is whenever she gets it out. Love her. But anyways, so I was kind of feeling like this after, you transition from season to season. And, when we have those breaks and we have time off, you have that ability to regain the courage and the mental fortitude and the chip on your shoulder because you've had time to just sit and be a lazy piece of garbage. Like you build up all this energy to put back into it when you have 2 weeks off or 7 to 10 days off from cross country into indoor track. But this is the weirdest transition that I've always really thought about is from indoor to outdoor track. Both seasons aren't long enough, or it's really short, separate, but together they make a longer season, I feel like, than cross country, if not equal it. I think maybe a little longer. And so like you add the national meets in and all that, and like every race on a track is usually to run as fast as you can. Cross country is a little different. It's just grinding it out. It's all about racing. It's all about beating people. So is track, especially when you get to the championships. But you have to qualify to those championships. You have to set up a perfect week to run the fastest you've ever ran in your life to cover that distance. And so it's been really weird. And I'm not gonna lie, I found out yesterday that I didn't get into Raleigh relays and in the 10K. And part of me didn't think part of me was a little relieved because I was like, wow, that kind of just accommodates or just gives me satisfaction to what I thought. And that was that I was preparing myself for this to happen, not gonna lie, because my 10K time, my PR, I haven't really had a chance to really prove what I could do. And I'm such a distance runner. I get better as the longer the distance, the longer the race goes. And I know I'm due for a big turnout, and I'm just trusting in Ron and our coaching staff to find me a perfect fit race, because it's all about, who and it's all about racing politics. And I hate it. And there's always something. Like at some meets, it hurts you more to have experience in the event because you have a mark. And sometimes if you don't have a mark, they'll let you just put in whatever you want. And depending on what you've run for 5K, and it's like if you look at how my seasons have lined up the past 6 months, all you will see on my TFers is yellow.
So satisfying.
It's so satisfying, but it does me a disservice right now because I feel like they probably saw, Noah Tobin, Wilmington College D3, and there was probably a 30-50 in there for 10K when the qualifier is 29-10, and they're like, oh, well, obviously no. But it's like you click on that person, you look at their TFers, you see, oh, well, he's run PRs and all this. And what they don't know is I run 95 to 100 miles a week. I work 40 hours a week. I'm a grinder. I do the workouts. I'm fit.
You're better than the numbers show, which we love running because it's objective, but also hate running because it's subjective. And sometimes you're better than your most recent number.
And I understand that, a place like NC State, they have to be cutthroat, especially when it's not a D1 school that's forking out a bunch of money to them for their athletes to compete there. But that takes me back to the burnout piece. I feel like coming out of, OACs, I have, 2 or 3 weeks off, I think, of racing. And it's just been a little weird trying to, train and get ready for Raleigh. I always take a down week because I found that's what's most successful for me is taking a down week the week before my big race and then front loading the first 2 days and then kind of backing off so I feel sharp but not lethargic and fatigued. And that's what I was getting ready to do this week until I found out I didn't make it. And so now we're kind of switching plans around. But I'm not going to lie, now I'm really pumped and excited because, as Brad Hayes says, good stories have adversity. And I feel they don't tell the stories of people when things are easy and given to them. And so, you got to make the most out of the chances that you're given. And you just have to keep having faith. And it kind of just reignited a fire under my butt for the next couple of weeks to seeing what's going to happen. So I'm really excited now and I'm really pumped. And so I'm wow, I was running today on the run and we were popping off miles and it just felt so smooth and so good and so easy. And I'm just this is what it's all about. I was I ran 17 miles today. I doubled 5 in the morning, 5 miles in the morning, and then worked and then had 12 miles in the afternoon and then got some core in with the guys. And it's just this is what it's all about. Just getting back to the basics and getting back to the grind.
Yeah, I think we have different answers for this, which is interesting. Mine will hopefully be kind of short and sweet. I'm just going to be flat out, straight up honest. I don't feel like I get burnt out really. Like, I mean, yeah, knock on wood. I think everyone's gonna have days every now and then where like they don't feel great and it might suck the joy out of training, but I have one of my hot takes about one of my special abilities in running or like cycling is if it's an easy day and I feel terrible, I'm really good about slowing down or backing off enough to the point where it can still be a good run or a good effort. So there's a little life hack for you. You do not have to have a fast run to have a good run. You can have a really slow dog poop run and it can still be a good run. Just back off enough for it to still be fun and just feel the endorphins. And I think that's something that I feel very blessed with is like I go out there and train and like 99% of the times I'm just getting a ton of endorphins. And I mean, you've seen me at my like low point where I'm going without those endorphins for my week off and like struggling because I just want to like go out and train. And for me, training is like, it's like playtime. And I know, like, if there is a day, like, it's usually an outlier in its own. And if I don't want to train that day for some reason, it's usually because I'm, like, underfueled and probably in heavy training. So I'm going to go crush some Taco Bell and some carbs. Or I'm getting sick is usually the other reason. And usually then I'll try and push through until I see that, like, my resting heart rate's higher or, like, my heart rate's not lined up with, like, the times or the watts that I'm putting out. So in terms of dealing with the burnout then, like obviously if it is illness, like I'll back off. I think the most burnout I've had to deal with, there's a long period of time where I wasn't able to like train or race as part of a team. And I just felt like I was beating my head against the wall. And it was funny because I still wanted to go out the door and run every day and ride my bike on weekends. And it was just because I loved it. Like, there was no race on the calendar. Like, I was just doing it because I loved it. And I was fighting so hard to be able to train and race, like, with a group and with a team. And I wasn't given any guarantees. And it was really transferring to Dayton and then to Wilmington. Part of me was like, gosh, like I feel like I'm beating my head against the wall with this thing, like just trying to get on a team somewhere. And I think that was where I was feeling the most burnt out was I had to fight the system that was providing me an opportunity to do what I loved for a really long time. And that made it hard to like enjoy everything as a whole, but it's been so worth it. And I think just in answering this question for a person who's probably dealing with traditional burnout, as in, like, I'm tired of running, I don't know if I want to do it anymore, I'm going to answer this with what one of my teammates did. And I feel like she would be okay with me saying this on the pod because she actually came on the podcast when I had it that summer a few years ago, Grace Ritchie. She ran in college with me at Mississippi State and really struggled with collegiate running, moving on from high school and enjoying the sport and felt very burnt out. And this might not be like what you want to hear, but she like took a week like completely off, like didn't go to practices, didn't do the student athlete life, just was a student and hung out with their friends and took a little bit more time after that. And when she realized that she didn't really want to come back to it or feel a need to, and that she was able to look back and feel satisfied with like what she had done in competitive running, she actually left the team. And it was a really hard decision for her because it was part of her identity for a really long time, and it was something that we talked about a lot. And like it was hard conversations with her because you're letting go of something that's become who you were for a long time. But I think if you're looking for something to see if you're just burnt out for a little bit, like I don't want to be like, oh, just take a week off in the middle of your season. Like, stick through the season. Like, but maybe that's something you consider is just give yourself a couple days and see, like, do you like your life without it?
I think a major thing that, because I never really answered the question fully, I guess, because I never really said how I dealt with it. And I would say the biggest thing is keep your work at work and keep what's at home at home. And I feel like that's a big thing in just life in general. So it's like if you have a hard workout, obviously you want to plan your day and like mentally prepare yourself. But also it's like studying for like a test or for like a quiz or something. Like study for an hour. So think about like the workout, how you're going to execute it. What do you want to do that day? And then take some time, watch some YouTube, take a break. Have some mindless scrolling on TikTok, read a book, be a human being. like enjoy things you want to enjoy. You cannot, and I can't stress it enough, you cannot just not take care of yourself. You need to take care of your mind just as much as your body. And so that's how you can either avoid it / get through burnout, is always just remembering, like you said, like remembering your why, remembering why you do this. And sometimes you do have to step away, whether that is mentally or physically or emotionally. And your body needs to recover mentally just as much as it needs to recover physically. So I don't know if that helps answer the question, Lydia, but thank you for a wonderful question. That's an ongoing thing with us too. Like it's one of those things that's always going to be like heavily debated, and like is going to be one of those things that's like person to person. So we're going to get into some questions from our man Tony Goodrich.
All right. I feel like we've been talking about this lately. If all the shoe companies are... Oh my gosh, he just commented on Strava. What'd he comment? You can't tell me God is so real for that. Okay. Moving on. If all the shoe companies are knocking, who you signing a lifetime deal with? I think...
Oh, I know what your answer is.
Yeah, you want to answer it for me and I'll answer it for you? That'd be fun.
Ooh, I wonder if you... I don't even... Yeah, we'll see what you say about mine. I already know it. It's Brooks. It's got to be Brooks.
Yes. But hang on. Hear me out. I haven't raced in Brooks spikes. So I don't know. But I will say, I'm a glycerin girly. I'm back in my new glycerins now. I really like them. And I've been using the Hyperion too for some workouts here and there. It's not plated, but it's a nice, really lightweight, bouncy, springy shoe. That I just put on when there's those days that I'm like, I need a little extra pep in my step. But yes, you were like, wow, you just got to get a Brooks deal at this point, because I went right from my glycerins to my Hyperions one day, and I was like, you're so right. I've only ever had like one pair of Brooks that I've really not liked, and they were the first pair of shoes I ever ran in, were the Brooks Pure Flow, like one, I think, when I was in middle school, because they had kid sizes, so that was fun. For you... This is hard because you run in like everything. I had an answer in my head, but I think it's wrong. But I'm going to say it. Oh gosh. Asics? Oh my gosh! Okay.
For anybody listening with AirPods, I'm so sorry that my fiance just screamed in your ear. Yes, I would probably say Asics right now. I'm really loving all their stuff and the gear that they've been coming out with, and even like they're running a time.
And the Clayton Young videos, that was what sold me. That
suckers
that answer in.
But like they're like for marathon training, I would have to say, yeah. But if I was training for like, if I was still like in school or like training like to be like a professional 5K, 10K guy, I'm probably leaning more towards like Nike, to be honest, which you kind of knew that.
Yeah.
Like I love Nike's like racing shoes, their trainers, and their spikes, because I've always been a Nike spike guy. But I'm intrigued by Asics spikes. But I think Asics might have some of the best like just like super shoes and like just like plushy trainers.
Like a candy store talking about
no, because I'm just thinking like I have two pairs of the Nova Blast right now. I have the 4s and the 5s, and the 4s are definitely more firmer than the 5s, and the 5s are way lighter but also more squishy, and it's crazy. So like they're like great everyday trainers that I rotate through, and then I see like Clayton Young running the Super Blast, and I'm like, dude, I would love to try the Super Blast for like a workout shoe. And like I've just never really had an Asics shoe that like I hated. Like I've never had an Asics shoe that I didn't like. I think they do a really good job with their marketing and everything that they do. So and their singlets, they're actually on the come up in their singlets.
Their
like the baby blue one.
Long way the past few years.
The guy who just ran 2:07 in the marathon, he's Asics. Yeah. Like next one also from Tony.
This is very applicable to tonight. The Officer Parks and Rec, and I think we have to say The Office because you haven't seen Parks and Rec other than like the first season as of tonight. It's funny because usually I would have said Parks and Rec, but then I rewatched The Office like 2 years ago all the way through and liked it a lot more in Parks and Rec. And I don't know if it's because I'm watching it with you right now and you're kind of like just very secondhand embarrassed, but I'm not liking it as much as I liked The Office the second time.
I agree, and like you have people like you have Steve Carell, like a comedian who like is in all sorts of stuff, and then you have the actor that plays Jim and Pam. Like the whole cast just works together perfectly. I even think the cast of Parks and Rec works together fine. Like I love Ron Swanson. Like Ron Swanson cracks me up. Like
because he's Ron Combs.
He is. He is Ron Combs. He's like I have a reputation to uphold, and then he's like Duke's over one night, and it's like that's Ron when we go on trips. You know it's true, and like, but like I love The Office, and like I've watched The Office, so I'd have to say The Office. Also from Tony, favorite or most inspirational Ron Combs, Josh Cyrus, and Tony Goodrich quotes.
Two of these for me are gonna be really deep, and one's gonna be really funny, which is Ron's, which is also deep. I have a whole list of Ron quotes on my phone that I could pull up for reference if we want real quick, but the first one that comes to mind that I feel okay saying on here is, no matter how much you rub on a turd, it won't turn into a diamond. Would you like to share your favorite Ronald Eugene Combs quote next?
I'll do a smart one. So he says sometimes there's over like a million ways to skin a cat. So just like there's a different way to do everything, or like trust the process, or he's always like, no, favorite Ron quote. Come on, man. Whenever we say something that's outlandish or like dumb, he always looks at us, gives us like this smirk, and goes, "Come on, man. Come on."
We were on a trip. This was last year at Wash U, and we went to Walmart, and Ron needed a toothbrush. And Ron at Walmart is just something else because it's like, Ron, the item's right in front of you. Just decide if you're going to get it or not.
And he like always like sometimes we'll like catch him in like the freaking toy aisle, and he just like puts on all the masks and gear and stuff, and he's just a freaking goof.
But he needed a new toothbrush, and he's like, there's like 50 toothbrushes. We're like, dude, just like get one and let's go. But we basically grabbed him a toothbrush from the aisle next to him. It was like a little kid's Lightning McQueen toothbrush with like a miniature toothpaste attached to it. And we gave it to him, and he just looks at us and does the arm thing. It's, come on, man. Like, are you serious, man? But Josh, I think my favorite like personal like moment with Josh was I was actually having horrible knee issues, which I never really like talked about much like publicly like at the start of cross season, but we thought I might have to get knee surgery and that it was going to be a big thing and that I probably wouldn't run for a very long time. There were a lot of tears, and I'm just again really thankful for that support community going into cross country season. And like every time I towed the line for a race, like I felt like I was so unprepared. Like I really didn't have any like run training under me. I would try and run and get like a mile in each day at practice, and the pain would just be like so unbearable. And every time that I raced, it was just kind of motivating though, because the pain was a little bit less and it would recover a little bit faster. And I remember before the Shelbyville race, so it was still very early season, and I was so nervous going to the start line because my knee had been so bad that week, and I really thought that I was going to run that race and my leg was going to give out on me. And I remember going to the line, and Josh was doing all this different warm-up stuff with me that he wanted to try. And he's very smart, and I trust him. And it was just giving me whatever peace of mind I could have in that moment going into that race. And he told me, I was like, thank you. Like, part of me was like, I don't know why you're doing this. Like, I don't know, like, we don't know if it's going to help or not. Or, like, if I'm just going to take, like, time off after this until the pain goes away again. Like, what's the point in this? And he was like, I know that you can take more pain than anybody out in this field. We just have to make sure it's the right kind of pain. And that, like, knowing, like, yeah, like, I can go out there and hurt and take pain and suffer in a race better than anybody else is something that's so incredibly motivating to me to, again, say, like, my coaches are trusting me to dig as deep as I need to get the job done, but we just have to make sure it's the right kind of pain, meaning, like, we can't let it be the knee and we can't let it be a bodily issue. And at that point, like, we had no reason to not be, like, racing me. Essentially, the plan was we were going to do that race and then try and figure things the heck out and go see another professional, get other opinions, and see what's going on. But at that point, going into that race, we were like, we have nothing to lose with this race at this point. But Josh saying that to me, like, gave me a lot of confidence. I think about that a lot.
Yeah, mine's really simple, and honestly, it's so simple that we quote it every day and all the time, and we literally just quoted it in the podcast like not even 5 minutes ago, and that is remember your why. Or who are you? And he did that to me a lot when I was coming back from injury last year, and when I was going through injury, and when I was going through personal issues in the summer. And it's that question isn't about running, honestly. It's about everything else that involves and flows into running. And it's like you're remembering, like, who are you doing it for? Why are you doing it? Like, at some point, you have to do it for yourself, but you have to be able to do it for yourself so you can do it for others. And obviously, at the end of the day, like, you know, we had this exercise where we wrote, like, our, you know, top 3 priorities in life, and, like, God is number 1. And we always, you know, end our night praying every night. And, like, the shifts that I've made since the last time he's told me that has been, like, amazing. And I just remember him saying that again during the 3K. And, like, he yelled it at me, and I heard him. So it was like all the noise in the track just shut off, and all I could hear was the echo of Josh saying that the rest of the race. And that's why I talked about in, like, another podcast, like, I was goner I came back from the dead 3 times, and it's like because I kept remembering a new reason to keep fighting. And, like, that could also go into, like, how it helps, like, for burnout as well. So remember your why, and who are you, and why.
Lastly, we got the Tony Goodrich quote box to fill. Mine's going to be short and sweet here. Oompa Lagoma. It sounds like gibberish. It's actually, it's not, I don't know what language it is, but Tony basically taught it to me, and it translates to lioness. And he told it to me before outdoor nationals in the 5K last year. And that was my first national title. And I remember I was walking to the start line, and he was in the stands off on the right, and it was like an empty section of stands because everybody else was in the home stretch, and he was there in the dark. And he said like, "Hey, Faith." And I looked over and I, like, waved at him and gave him a big smile because, you know, you got to make it a show. And it's actually funny because I was like, "What's the word?" And he said this word that I had told him earlier, which is yes, because my thing when somebody made it at that point, like, before I was in the position to dictate moves in races, it was always my word was yes. Like, say yes to the move, commit to the move, just say yes. And I was like, well, that was not the word I was thinking. And then I was like, the other one. And he went, Oompa Lagoma. And I was like, that's the one that I wanted to remember, to be a lioness. And so, yeah, I guess you could say yes and Oompa Lagoma. But I liked thinking about that, and it was kind of a mantra during that race.
Mine's also kind of goofy and really cool. And, well, one thing, oh my gosh, Faith just did a head motion to the song Baby Don't Hurt Me.
What is that?
Or, yeah, shoot, we're going to cut that out. To the song What Is Love? Baby Don't Hurt Me. Don't hurt me no more. No, that's just like a memory from when it was like a rainy meet, and I just see just Tony across the track, and he's just like doing the head tilt like in the movies to the song while the 4x4 or 4x8 was going off. It was the most hilarious thing ever. That's just that kind of guy he is. But no, my quote is whenever there's 2. I love when he's always like calls me a gorilla. I guess that goes hand in hand. He's always like, that man's a gorilla. He's a gorilla. He gonna get after it. And he always, my favorite thing that he does is, it honestly, it helps. It helps with my tension before races. Before every race, he comes up to me and massages my shoulders in not a weird way at all. Like, literally just working out the knots, and then, like, massages the side of my arm, like the top shoulder blade, and then, like, gets my neck like a dad would to their son, and then, like, smacks my shoulders. And usually when he's massaging, he'll like usually we're around people like on the team, and he's like, and everybody knows the ritual, and everybody's like, do you guys, like, God, is this concrete? It's like massaging concrete. Gosh, this is dense. It's like, this guy's a gorilla. My gosh. And, like, it just gets me hyped. And it's like, it's just like, it's the little things that make you, like, pumped up and excited. And honestly, it's those silly things that make you relax. And, like, this is just another race. let's just try to see where it takes us.
Our next one is from Jen Reagan herself. Shout out D3 Glory Days. Favorite part about Nationals / what you thought of New York. Okay, so first thing that comes to mind, TikTok. If you follow my TikTok, you should also follow me on TikTok first off. Follow Noah on TikTok. We're going to get on that grind now. We're going to start reposting each other's stuff. We don't have a joint TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. So tune in to both. And I've already started posting today, actually. Like, I posted 2 TikToks back to back today. So follow in to watch what I do on a daily basis and see funny pictures of my daily life.
But I love watching
goofy pictures of Faith Duncan, if you must.
100%. All their camera rolls are just each other. All you get on Strava, on my Strava, is Noah pictures. Hey, don't make that face. Keep it PG. But my TikTok, I love watching coffee TikToks and coffee shop TikToks and like travel TikToks and seeing people explore new places. So you bet your bottom dollar on the drive to New York, I was looking up coffee shops in Rochester on TikTok, and I was getting so excited because we went to like some of the ones that I saw on TikTok. So obviously the coffee shops, because I felt like I was walking into TikTok. So yeah, that was really fun. We'd love to go back there and just explore a bunch of coffee shops and like literally just go on a trip where we run and find coffee shops and rate and review different coffee shops and products and stuff. Favorite part about Nationals though, I think the Wilmy support out there was really great. And thinking of people on the live streams, and we just honestly, even not from Wilmington, there were a ton of people out there just very supportive of like us and like obviously like the engagement that had just happened, and the camera guys, D3 Glory Days again, did a great job. And it was a lot of really cool moments documented on film there on our cameras and on the race video. So yeah, really special moments.
Oh, I guess I can kind of give my favorite, since I was on the trip, wasn't competing. Well, I guess I technically did compete. Honestly, one of the funnest things about the trip was just getting to spend time with Faith and in the small group that we had up there, and just getting the runs in day to day and just talking about racing and talking about, the point of no return and what we're going to have to do in order to find success and exploring new places. Oh my gosh, it's my favorite thing to find a coffee shop that I've never been to before and see what it's like there, because it's the cool thing about coffee shops is they're all the same, but they're all so different. Everybody has their staple at every coffee shop. And it might be the simplest thing, but it also might be the most complex thing. And it also might be something that nobody's ever thought of before. And everybody does it a different way. Nobody does it the exact same. And there's always a uniqueness to every single shop.
This is why we're meant to be together.
100%.
Snack break.
Oh, yeah, snack.
Oreo of the week is a double chocolate.
Oh, yeah, we do this thing where we have a new Oreo flavor of the week, and so we'll buy a pack of Oreos, and we'll go through it the whole week because, carbs, sugar is energy. So anyways, on to the next one. We got Grace Kilroy.
So Grace asked, what is something you would tell your younger high school / middle school self? And she expanded on this question a bit. Via DM. I know you and I were all grinders in high school, but was wondering if you guys have learned anything over the years with purpose behind your workouts. I know there's a lot I would tell my younger self, and feel like you guys would have some insight to share on this one as well. I think Grace, who's now a triathlete, would say the same thing kind of to me. Check the box. Like, obviously you need the passion and the fire, but save the passion and fire for race day, and you will be able to dig so deep on race day. I do not dig nearly as deep in my workouts as I do on race day. Well, okay, that's a lie. Some days I'd be on the bike, some days the bike is really friggin' hard, but I feel like running workouts, I'm much more just consistent.
I have to jump in real quick because, I don't want to lose it. I always give it the credit it deserves, and it's important. We do K workouts, and we do something called threshold Ks, and it's not even the pace that's important, because it's not race pace. It's not like VO2 max pace. It's a pace, but it dictates what system that we're working because of how fast, and then along with it, how much rest we have. And that's one of those things where you have to check the box because you're working too hard. It's just like double T. So many people mess it up and don't do well and overtrain and hurt themselves because they do their first threshold session, not at threshold, at faster than threshold, or they'll do their first session perfect and then their second session, they'll mess it up. And it's like if you have your first session 2x2 miles at threshold or whatever it's supposed to be, tempo pace or whatever pace it's supposed to be, you hit it perfectly, and then you go into your second session of the day and it's like 12 to 15 by 400 with like 90 seconds rest, and you're taking less rest, or it's supposed to be 75 seconds per rep and you're doing 72s, you're messing it up. You're working your body too hard. The point is to do the two workouts and to execute them how they're supposed to be executed. Just like with the regular threshold case, the point is to do it right on the pace and let the rest and everything else will just do the work for you.
My first college coach, kind of going off of that, had shared something with me at one point when I ran a workout a little too fast. This was over the summer going into my freshman year. And he was like, to some extent, it's a sign of self-doubt and a lack of confidence when you're running workouts too fast because you feel a need to prove to yourself that you're better than the assigned pace or that you're better than like a result you have from your past. And sometimes I do think that's true. I don't think that's true all the time, but I do think that you raised a very good point there. And a lot of times now, if I do catch myself running too fast, it's something that I ask myself. I'm like, am I insecure about a result or something? Am I trying to compensate? Am I trying to prove something, whether it's feeling good on a long run? I think he's compensating. We quote that from Shrek all the time. What would I tell my high school self? Like, there's not one way to do it. Like, I think finding triathlon was one of the best things for me and, like, my physical and mental health. And I don't think it's going to be the same for everybody. Like, obviously, Noah's had a lot of success, and he's a runner, like, through and through. And I think for me, it's something that's been really helpful. And my story doesn't have to look the same as other people's. Like, obviously, transferring and being at my third school here now, like, I thought nobody would want me at this point. And I remember being in that position, being like, do I even try and transfer again? Like, is this worth it? And, like, nobody else has done this. And it's okay if nobody else has done it. Be the first, so.
Honestly, if I would tell my high school self, is it like advice or just like anything?
Anything.
If I would tell him anything, honestly, I would just trust yourself more and honestly enjoy every moment of every little thing. Because I think it was districts my senior year. And then I realized, I was like, wow, this is like the last bus ride with these certain people that I grew up with all my life. This would be the last time we'll all suit up together and all race together because like our team wasn't good enough to go to regionals. And it's like, I didn't realize like this is kind of sad, but I didn't realize that would be my last time like ever touching the track with those guys because I didn't get my senior track season. And so it's like it was over before I even knew it was over. And before I knew it, even though I was happy with it, I was racing in the green for Wilmington and, had new people and new environment. That has been the best thing that's like ever happened to me so far. Obviously, I'm engaged, so to be continued with that. But in the sense of my running career, like it was like the best decision I ever made was to come to Wilmington, and just for life as well. So that would be my thing. Not take everything so seriously. Be a little kinder to yourself.
It's funny. I feel like part of me wants to say, like, look at the things I did wrong in high school and early in college and say something that will correct that. But I also don't feel like I'd be where I am now without those mistakes. And it makes a pretty good story and fuels a lot of my fire. So next question is a bit more fun. Favorite workout? We just talked about this.
And that's from Shawn Adkins. His son just committed to Wilmington, Cameron. So congrats, and we're happy to have you. Also been following along with your journey, Shawn, and very proud of all the work that you put in. Love the Slow Dad Run Club hats that you have. It honestly cracks me up, and I love it because it's like it's truly like the purest level of the sport. Like you do it because you enjoy to do it. Who cares how fast or slow you go? So we'll have to get a slow dad run club, like little run going, a little 2 mile run, just me and you and and your son and some other people. Will have to collab for that. But yes, favorite workout, Faith. What do you got?
It's funny. I literally, like, every time I think Ron gives us a workout, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite workout. It's literally, like, every workout. Like, love a good long run. Long runs are consistently, like, except the one this weekend when I felt like booty cheeks. But even by the end, it was still a lot of fun. Love a good long run. I really want to say we did a 10 by K workout. That was a monster workout where, like, that was the one I was saying that I felt really bad about, like, halfway through it, but then it went really well and I actually ran well and felt great. So part of me wants to say if I didn't feel like booty cheeks the first half of that, I would say that workout. Love a good tempo run, but also we do a lot of like really big fartleks that are like 8 minutes on and stuff like that, which honestly those I might really like because you'll alternate a lot between like tempo and threshold pace for the on sections with short rest, and sometimes you'll pop off a mile in there and I'm like, ooh, dang, I kind of ran fast, I kind of cooking, and it's always a workout that I never think I'm going to like as much as I do.
I think my favorite staple workout is any arrangement of Ks. I think that's like my favorite thing. Any arrangement of Ks and honestly our tempo workouts or like a step down. Those are probably like my favorite kind of workouts. They're challenging. They hit under the radar challenging, and they really like surprise you how hard they are. And like I love it because it's just like you're just putting together some miles upon miles. But also, my favorite workout from this past training block that was really, really fun was we did a threshold mile and then 5 by 1K at faster than threshold, and then we did an all-out mile, and it got to the point where me and Simon were trying to time up our rest with our paces because we had to be on pace, obviously, and then we got to the last mile, and he like took a couple more seconds, and then like we were looking at him trying to figure out how we'd pace it, and then I looked at him and I just said, it was like freezing too, and I was just like, dude, I was like, race me. And he looked at me, and he was like, all right, let's freaking race then. He was like, you gonna take it out in 68? And I was like, oh. After doing all that, like, I think I went like 5 flat for the first like threshold mile, and then I went like 3 flat, 3 flat. I think 3 flat, and then 258, and then like 257, and so like that was like my best, like that was like we were, and like I wasn't like overreaching to get to those paces either. So I was like, we might be cooked. I was like, we got 4.1 miles in of like hard work. And then we looked at each other and said, let's race. And then he ended up running 4:36 and I went 4:38. That was like the fastest mile I've ever ran in a workout. Don't flame me if you ran faster than that, but we don't do a whole lot of stuff like that. So that was the funnest one up here lately. But yes, favorite workout.
It was really fun to watch too. I was envious of you guys' energy. Should we go to the next question?
Yeah, but thanks for that one, Shawn. Next question is
tips for someone new to triathlon. That's from Morgan. I don't remember if her new name is Hikes or if it's O'Keefe, but she's on the Love Squad with me. Hey, Morgan. Love your content. It's great. Follow her on TikTok as well and Instagram at MoFrizzle. Tips for someone new into triathlon. Okay, this is pretty simple. Keep this short and sweet. Get a bike fit. Find a bike saddle that works for you, or you will chap your ass. The bike fit will make you so much more comfortable on that bike. People always complain about how uncomfortable biking is, and I will say, like, it's not comfy at first. Like, you're literally, like, sitting on a stick. Like,
even I have bibs.
But yes, get proper bike attire, like bibs, bike shorts, whatever works for you, whatever fits for you. If you need body glide, use it, but get a bike fit because that's just going to get you in the right body position so that like your neck and shoulders aren't going to be sore, that your crotch won't hurt as much, you're not going to like hyperextend your knees, like you don't want to be overextending your legs. Just get a bike fit from somebody who knows what they're doing. I use a bi saddle. It's great. Shout out bi saddle. It's adjustable in terms of like the width. They have a bunch of different models in terms of cushioning. I found it because the saddle that I used to use, they stopped making, and I still have it on my trainer bike here. It's really old and gross and like shredded, but the bi-saddle is what I have on my road bike, and I have it adjusted in a way that it's just phenomenal. Like I don't get any like numbness or saddle sores or like tingling. There's a lot less pressure in areas where I don't want it. The bike's not going to be like super comfy. Like you're not going to be sitting in like a lounge chair the first few times. Like you do have to get used to the position if you are aero at all. But it should not be painful for weeks on end. So yeah, get a bike fit, get fitted for shoes if you're looking for that. If you are just looking to complete the race, just make sure you can do everything the right distance, and then just do a couple of like your runs off the bike to get used to that feeling, I would say. If you have an actual like goal, get a coach. They will help you structure your training properly in a way that works for you.
I will say, just to touch a little bit, because I don't have a lot of experience, but from what I've physically experienced, yes, you need to train running off the bike, because like you don't have to do it like a whole lot, from at least if you're just like trying to just finish the race, but you need to do it just enough so you know what it feels like, because it is different. Your body will be going the right pace, but you will feel like you're moving through slow motion. It is the craziest thing. Yeah, I can't even stress it enough, especially because I know you agree with that.
Yeah, some people run great off the bike and others don't. Like, actually, Morgan Pearson, a name that probably a lot of people who listen to this know, like, he has flat out said before that he doesn't run great off the bike. Whereas, like, some people, like, I feel like I run better off the bike sometimes because I'm already just, like, like, so in.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, next question.
Oh.
From D3 King and now Hanson Brooks runner Ethan Gregg. He said, breakdown of weekly cross training. And I believe that is for Faith Marie Duncan herself.
So I've talked about this a little bit already, but this is probably going to be a fun, different answer. We talked about like hours per week, so I'll just kind of give you how that's all spread apart. The bike, I usually do time on the bike instead of miles because wind and stuff like that is so different. But the bike is usually around 10 to 12 hours, I would say, is normal. Running, I'll do usually around 45 miles. My highest has been 50. And that was last week, and that was the highest I've run since my freshman year of college. And then the pool, I'll usually about 20,000 yards of swimming a week. So anywhere from 18 to 20,000, I'd say. When I was injured because of my knee injury, there was 1 week where I literally swam a 35-mile week when I converted it. Go to Taco Bell order. That's perfect for tonight because we just crushed some Taco Bell.
Oh, you want me to go first? Yeah, I do. I was thinking about that, but I'm not gonna lie. Like we always say, we're gonna enjoy it.
I really want to do you as my Strava shout out because of our workout on Friday.
Me?
When we did our tempo super early in the day and we were running around campus and we were like the stuff. We were like the cool kids on campus. Like we were zooming loops around that place. Like it felt good. And I had my Fire Heartbreak Running Company outfit on. So I felt good, looked good, feel good, run good. And it was just fun because then we like made food and drank good coffee and stuff. Actually, no. I always shout you out. Eric Reynolds. He's on the comeback.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Eric Reynolds. Follow him on Strava. He's one of our best friends, supporter of the pod. Ran here at Dubsea for a while, and he's getting back on his running grind, and it's really cool to see somebody fall in love with the process again.
Honestly, I'm gonna do two because they're a father-son duo, and I'm gonna go with Shawn and Cameron Adkins. His son's a commit to the college, and Shawn's a fan of us and of what we do, and he's a very big supporter. He reminds me a lot of my parents, and just like they really just love to watch people just try to do their best day in and day out. So huge shout out to them. And honestly, this man has had over 22 miles a week for the past 12 weeks of training. Has gotten up to 35 miles a week. And yes, Shawn, I am stalking your Strava as we speak. And you might not know this about Shawn, but all of his runs are usually really, really, really freaking early in the morning. And he just recently ran 10 miles for a long run this past Sunday. So huge shout out to him and what he's doing and his journey as a runner and as a supporter to his son. And huge shout out to Cam. And I'm pretty sure we get a run with Cam this weekend. I'm pretty sure him and Ethan DeRose, another commit, are going to be joining us for some good talks and yaps. So excited for those guys and really appreciate being loyal fans and also supporters of us. And like, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but they're at everything. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like they're at everything and they support us in every way possible. I know at all of our home meets they would be there, and if they're not, it's okay. You're allowed to miss one.
But only one.
But huge shout out to them, and thank you for listening to the podcast. And we're really excited for your opportunities here at Wilmington College.
Alrighty, guys. On that note, we are signing off, and we will catch you on the flip.